In the vast expanse of the cosmos, where stars shimmered like diamonds scattered across an endless velvet canvas, there existed a being whose presence commanded both awe and terror. The alien queen, a towering figure cloaked in iridescent scales that shifted colors with each subtle movement, ruled over her hive with an authority that transcended mere dominance. Her elongated limbs moved with calculated grace, while her multifaceted eyes glimmered with ancient wisdom and an insatiable hunger for knowledge. For millennia, the queen had presided over her species' expansion through the galaxy, her empire stretching across star systems and encompassing countless worlds. Yet unlike other conquerors who sought only power or resources, she pursued something far more profound, a deeper understanding of existence itself. Each conquest brought not just territory but also fragments of alien cultures, technologies, and philosophies that she meticulously catalogued within her vast consciousness. The hive mind under her command functioned as a living library, storing every scrap of information gathered from their explorations. This collective intelligence whispered constantly in the background of her thoughts, a symphony of voices sharing observations, theories, and questions about the universe's mysteries. But despite this wealth of knowledge, one particular puzzle continued to elude even her formidable intellect: humanity. Human beings had first appeared on her radar centuries ago, during an expedition to a remote sector of space. Their ships were primitive compared to those of her fleet, their technology laughably simple. Yet something about them intrigued the queen beyond measure. It wasn't their physical form, though bipedal creatures with soft flesh seemed almost fragile against the armored might of her warriors, but rather their behavior, their emotions, their capacity for creation and destruction alike. Reports from her scouts painted a picture of a species riddled with contradictions. Humans waged wars over ideologies as readily as they composed symphonies that could stir even the coldest hearts. They built towering cities that reached for the heavens while simultaneously poisoning their own planet. Most perplexing of all was their ability to dream, to imagine futures beyond their current reality and then strive toward them with relentless determination. As decades turned into centuries, the queen found herself increasingly obsessed with unraveling the enigma of human nature. She dispatched fleets to study Earth from afar, collecting data on everything from their art to their politics. Still, answers remained elusive, slipping through her mental grasp like water between fingers. What drove these creatures? What made them capable of such extraordinary achievements yet so prone to devastating failures? Then came the day when everything changed, a single transmission intercepted by her communications array. It originated from a distant colony world at the edge of explored space, its signal weak but unmistakable. Within it lay coordinates and a name: Dr. Alara Vos. The message itself was fragmented, filled with static and barely coherent phrases, but one word repeated throughout sent shivers coursing through the queen's neural pathways: hope. Hope. A concept so abstract, so intangible, yet one that resonated deeply within the collective consciousness of her hive. Hope was what fueled their endless quest for understanding, what drove them to explore new frontiers despite countless dangers. And now, here was evidence suggesting that humans held some unique insight into this fundamental force. Without hesitation, the queen issued orders. Every available vessel would be mobilized, every resource redirected toward locating this mysterious human. For if Dr. Alara Vos truly possessed knowledge of hope's essence, then perhaps she held the key to unlocking the final mystery of existence, the reason why any sentient being chose to continue striving amidst the cold indifference of the universe. Thus began the greatest hunt in galactic history, a pursuit spanning light years and consuming untold resources. The alien queen scoured the galaxy not out of malice or greed but driven by an insatiable curiosity that bordered on desperation. She needed to understand what humans understood, to grasp the truth hidden within their fleeting lives. Because somewhere deep within her crystalline core, she feared that without finding this answer, her eternal reign might ultimately prove meaningless. Dr. Alara Vos stood on the observation deck of the research station orbiting Proxima Centauri b, her eyes tracing the swirling patterns of distant nebulae visible through the reinforced glass. At 37, she bore the weight of years spent chasing answers to questions most deemed unanswerable. Her dark hair, streaked with silver strands earned prematurely through sleepless nights, framed a face marked by both determination and weariness. The lines around her eyes told stories of countless hours spent poring over data, analyzing patterns, and wrestling with theories that danced just beyond comprehension. Alara's journey into the realm of existential inquiry began long before she joined the scientific community stationed among the stars. Growing up in a small coastal town on Earth, she had always felt drawn to the horizon, where sky met sea in an endless embrace. As a child, she would sit for hours watching waves crash against rocks, wondering what lay beyond the curve of the planet. This innate curiosity blossomed into academic excellence, propelling her through degrees in astrophysics, quantum mechanics, and eventually philosophy. Yet it wasn't until she encountered the works of early 21st century thinkers exploring the intersection of science and spirituality that her true calling emerged. Her breakthrough came unexpectedly during a routine analysis of stellar phenomena. While studying anomalous energy signatures emanating from certain star clusters, Alara discovered patterns resembling neural activity, complex networks of electromagnetic pulses that seemed to communicate across vast distances. These findings challenged conventional understanding, suggesting that consciousness might not be confined to biological entities alone. The implications were staggering. If stars could think, if galaxies possessed some form of awareness, then perhaps the entire universe operated as a single, interconnected mind. This revelation ignited a firestorm within the scientific community. Some hailed her work as revolutionary, while others dismissed it as fanciful speculation. Undeterred, Alara pressed forward, dedicating herself to mapping these cosmic neural pathways. Her research led her to develop groundbreaking algorithms capable of interpreting these signals, revealing glimpses of what she termed universal consciousness. Through painstaking analysis, she identified recurring themes embedded within these transmissions, themes of connection, growth, and transformation. Yet it was her exploration of human psychology that provided the missing piece to her theoretical framework. By cross-referencing ancient mythologies, modern psychological studies, and contemporary cultural expressions, Alara uncovered a universal thread running through human experience: the phenomenon of hope. Unlike mere optimism, which relied on external circumstances, hope represented an intrinsic drive, a belief in possibilities yet unseen, a willingness to persist despite overwhelming odds. It manifested in art, literature, music, and acts of courage throughout history, binding humanity together across time and space. Alara's synthesis of these insights culminated in her magnum opus, The Quantum Lattice of Hope, a treatise proposing that hope served as a fundamental force shaping reality itself. According to her theory, individual acts of hope generated ripples within the universal consciousness, influencing outcomes on both micro and macro scales. This idea sparked heated debates among scholars and philosophers, many struggling to reconcile its implications with established paradigms. Nevertheless, evidence supporting her claims continued to accumulate, drawing attention from unexpected quarters, including sectors of society traditionally skeptical of metaphysical concepts. Despite growing recognition, Alara remained grounded in her purpose. She understood that her work carried risks, knowing full well how easily revolutionary ideas could attract unwanted attention. Several colleagues had already vanished under mysterious circumstances, their projects abruptly terminated without explanation. Yet she refused to abandon her quest, driven by an unwavering conviction that humanity held vital keys to understanding existence's deepest mysteries. Little did she know, however, that forces far beyond human comprehension were already converging upon her trail, drawn inexorably by the beacon of hope she had illuminated in the darkness of space. The alien queen's pursuit of Dr. Alara Vos unfolded across the galaxy with a precision and scale that defied imagination. From the moment she decoded the fragmented transmission containing Alara's coordinates, every aspect of her vast empire pivoted toward this singular objective. Fleets of sleek, obsidian-hulled vessels emerged from hidden stasis fields scattered throughout known space, their engines humming with restrained power as they accelerated toward Proxima Centauri b. These ships, designed for both stealth and speed, sliced through the void like predatory shadows, leaving no trace save for the faintest gravitational disturbances detectable only by the most sophisticated instruments. Simultaneously, the Queen deployed her elite reconnaissance units, bioengineered organisms capable of infiltrating even the most secure human installations. These agents, appearing as innocuous drones or mimicking local fauna, gathered intelligence with surgical accuracy. They mapped defense grids, monitored communication channels, and observed Alara's daily routines, feeding real-time data back to the hive mind. Each report added another layer to the intricate portrait forming within the Queen's consciousness, painting a picture of a woman whose brilliance burned brighter than any star in her vicinity. Back on the home front, the hive itself transformed into a massive analytical engine dedicated solely to processing information related to Alara's work. Entire chambers once devoted to other projects now housed specialized neural clusters tasked with decoding her research papers, simulating her experimental setups, and attempting to replicate her findings. The Queen personally oversaw these efforts, her massive form moving between rows of pulsating organic processors, tendrils extending to interface directly with their glowing cores. She absorbed torrents of data, searching for patterns, connections, anything that might explain why this particular human's insights resonated so profoundly within her consciousness. Meanwhile, diplomatic channels buzzed with carefully orchestrated misinformation campaigns. The Queen's emissaries spread rumors of impending invasions elsewhere, diverting attention from the true target of their operations. Trade agreements were subtly manipulated to create economic dependencies that would hinder potential resistance. Even cultural exchanges were weaponized, introducing elements into human media that subtly prepared populations for contact with extraterrestrial intelligence, all while maintaining plausible deniability should suspicions arise. At the heart of this operation lay the Queen's personal chamber, where holographic projections displayed real-time updates on Alara's location and activities. Here, surrounded by her most trusted advisors, warriors whose loyalty had been forged through centuries of shared conquest, the Queen plotted strategy. Every contingency was considered, every possible outcome simulated. They debated optimal approaches. Should they attempt direct communication first, risking exposure but potentially gaining immediate access to Alara's knowledge? Or maintain covert surveillance longer, building a more comprehensive understanding before making contact? These deliberations often stretched for subjective days, though time flowed differently within the hive's temporal distortion fields. The Queen's patience knew no bounds. She understood that rushing this mission could jeopardize everything. Yet beneath her calculated exterior churned an emotion she rarely acknowledged, an urgency bordering on desperation. Each passing moment increased the risk of discovery by rival factions or unforeseen complications arising from human unpredictability. Through it all, the Queen maintained constant mental connection with her operatives in the field. She experienced their sensory inputs firsthand, feeling the chill of artificial atmospheres aboard human stations, tasting recycled air filtered through countless purification cycles, hearing the muffled conversations of researchers discussing breakthroughs and setbacks. This intimate perspective allowed her to refine strategies with unprecedented accuracy, adapting plans based on minute details others might overlook. As the net tightened around Proxima Centauri b, the Queen initiated Phase 2 of her operation, deploying specialized harvesting units disguised as natural cosmic phenomena. These constructs, resembling rogue asteroids or dense interstellar clouds, positioned themselves strategically along Alara's probable escape routes. Should she attempt to flee, these traps would activate, creating containment fields capable of immobilizing entire spacecraft without causing harm, a testament to the Queen's desire to acquire Alara alive and intact. Yet despite meticulous planning, uncertainty lingered at the edges of the Queen's calculations. Human behavior remained notoriously difficult to predict, especially when influenced by strong emotions. Reports indicated increased security measures around Alara Station, possibly triggered by intercepted communications hinting at alien interest. Some of her colleagues had begun exhibiting signs of paranoia, implementing protocols that complicated surveillance efforts. Worst of all, recent scans suggested modifications to the station's propulsion systems, indicating preparations for emergency departure. In response, the Queen authorized limited kinetic strikes against nearby uninhabited moons, creating debris fields that would complicate any attempted escape while providing cover for closer approach of her main fleet. These actions required careful calibration to avoid detection by human monitoring systems, pushing her tactical officers to their limits. The tension aboard command vessels grew palpable as countdowns ticked toward critical junctures in the operation. Throughout these developments, the Queen found herself returning repeatedly to one thought: why did this human's work resonate so deeply within her consciousness? Was it merely the promise of understanding hope's mechanics, or something more fundamental? The question gnawed at her, driving her to push harder, move faster, take greater risks than ever before. For in Alara's research, she sensed not just answers to intellectual puzzles but perhaps solutions to existential dilemmas plaguing her species since their emergence into sentience. And so the hunt continued, a dance of predator and prey played out across light years, with stakes higher than either party fully comprehended. The Queen's forces closed in, their movements synchronized like the beating of a single colossal heart, while Alara remained blissfully unaware of the cosmic storm gathering around her. Time flowed inexorably toward convergence, carrying with it the weight of destinies intertwined across species and civilizations. The first sign of trouble arrived on what should have been an ordinary Tuesday morning. Dr. Alara Vos was reviewing the latest batch of stellar data when her assistant, Marcus Chen, burst into her office with unusual urgency. His normally calm demeanor had given way to barely contained panic, his hands trembling as he held out a tablet displaying security footage from the station's perimeter sensors. The images showed nothing definitive, just brief flickers in the electromagnetic spectrum, anomalies that could easily be dismissed as equipment malfunctions, but Marcus's expression spoke volumes. "They're getting closer," he whispered, his voice cracking slightly. "I've been tracking these patterns for weeks now. At first, I thought it was just cosmic radiation interference. But, Alara, look at the timing. These spikes correspond exactly with your scheduled transmissions to Earth." A cold knot formed in Alara's stomach as she examined the data. She had suspected something amiss for months: strange fluctuations in communication signals, minor system glitches that couldn't be explained by normal wear and tear, but had attributed them to technical issues rather than deliberate interference. Now, confronted with concrete evidence, denial became impossible. Someone, or something, was monitoring her work with surgical precision. Word spread quickly through the research team, triggering a cascade of reactions ranging from fear to defiance. Dr. Priya Patel, the station's chief engineer, immediately began reinforcing cybersecurity protocols while coordinating with Earth-based facilities to establish backup channels. Meanwhile, Dr. Ahmed Al-Farouk, the resident xenobiologist, insisted on conducting thorough analyses of recent samples collected from nearby planets, convinced they might hold clues about potential alien visitors. The atmosphere aboard the station shifted overnight from academic collaboration to military-grade vigilance. Alara found herself at the center of this whirlwind, torn between competing impulses. Part of her wanted to shut down all outgoing communications, go completely dark until she could determine the nature of the threat. Another part, the scientist in her, burned with curiosity about whoever was interested enough in her work to mount such an elaborate surveillance operation. What did they want? Why focus specifically on her research rather than broader human activities? Her internal conflict manifested physically. Sleep became elusive, replaced by hours spent staring at monitors displaying endless streams of data. Meals were forgotten, coffee consumption skyrocketed, and dark circles formed beneath her eyes. Yet amid this chaos, moments of clarity emerged. During one particularly restless night, while reviewing archived recordings of her lectures on universal consciousness, Alara noticed something peculiar. Certain sections of her presentations consistently drew longer pauses in audience reaction times. Microscopic delays that shouldn't exist in digital recordings but somehow did. It was as if someone, somewhere, was processing her words with deliberate care. This realization sent her digging deeper into past interactions, searching for similar patterns. She discovered subtle anomalies in feedback received from various conferences and publications. Questions phrased in ways that revealed advanced understanding of topics she'd barely touched upon, references to unpublished work she'd only discussed privately with trusted colleagues. Someone had been following her career trajectory with obsessive attention, piecing together fragments of her theories long before she publicly presented them. The implications staggered her. If these observers possessed technology capable of intercepting private communications and analyzing complex scientific concepts, they must represent an intelligence far beyond human capabilities. Yet their interest focused narrowly on her specific line of inquiry, on hope as a fundamental force shaping reality. Why? What significance did this concept hold for them? As days passed, the situation escalated. More anomalies appeared in sensor readings, accompanied by unexplained power fluctuations affecting critical systems. Security cameras captured fleeting glimpses of shadowy figures moving through maintenance corridors, shapes too fluid to be human, too precise to be mechanical malfunctions. Panic began spreading among junior staff members, leading to several resignations and requests for transfer back to Earth. Amid mounting tension, Alara convened an emergency meeting with her core team. Around the conference table sat faces etched with fatigue and anxiety, yet determined to stand their ground. Together, they hashed out contingency plans, evacuation procedures, defensive measures, even desperate schemes involving broadcasting false information to mislead their pursuers. Each proposal carried risks, none guaranteed success. But it was Marcus who voiced the question haunting everyone's thoughts. What if they aren't hostile? He ventured hesitantly. What if they're trying to communicate, but we don't understand their methods? Silence fell over the room as his words sank in. Could it be possible? Were they misinterpreting cautionary signs as threats? Alara recalled instances where seemingly aggressive behaviors in animals actually served as attempts at interaction. Wolves circling intruders not to attack but to assess intentions. Perhaps their unknown observers operated under different paradigms entirely, their actions governed by logic incomprehensible to human minds. This possibility opened new avenues of consideration. Instead of focusing solely on defense, the team began developing alternative strategies aimed at establishing contact. They crafted messages using mathematical constants, musical frequencies, visual patterns, anything that might transcend linguistic barriers. Simultaneously, they intensified efforts to decode incoming signals, hoping to discern meaning within the noise. However, progress proved frustratingly slow. Just as they thought they'd identified a pattern, it dissolved into randomness. Breakthroughs led to dead ends. Promising leads evaporated under scrutiny. Frustration mounted alongside fear, testing the limits of their resolve. Arguments broke out over resource allocation, prioritization of tasks, interpretation of data. Trust eroded incrementally, replaced by suspicion and second-guessing. Through it all, Alara maintained outward composure, channeling her inner turmoil into relentless focus. She threw herself into work with renewed vigor, poring over datasets, running simulations, revisiting old hypotheses with fresh perspectives. Sleep deprivation blurred the boundaries between waking life and dreams, until reality itself seemed infused with surreal qualities. In these twilight states, she sometimes imagined conversations with her pursuers, not as adversaries but as fellow seekers navigating the same cosmic labyrinth. One evening, while alone in her quarters, Alara experienced a vision so vivid it left her questioning sanity. She saw herself standing on a vast plain beneath twin suns, surrounded by beings whose forms defied description. They communicated not through words but through sensations, waves of emotion washing over her, carrying impressions of longing, curiosity, desperation. Hope pulsed between them like a heartbeat, binding disparate entities together in shared purpose. When she awoke, tears streamed down her face, though whether from fear or revelation she couldn't say. Determined to make sense of this experience, Alara incorporated elements of it into her ongoing research. She expanded her models of universal consciousness to include non-biological intelligences, exploring how different forms of awareness might intersect and influence one another. This shift in perspective yielded surprising results, uncovering correlations between her earlier findings and recent anomalies detected around the station. Patterns emerged suggesting that their observers weren't merely watching, they were participating, contributing to the very phenomena Alara had spent years documenting. News of these discoveries reignited hope within the team, rekindling collaborative spirit dampened by prolonged stress. They redoubled efforts to establish meaningful contact, refining messaging techniques based on emerging insights. Yet underlying uncertainty remained, casting long shadows over their endeavors. How would their mysterious counterparts respond when finally addressed directly? Would understanding bridge the gap between species, or widen it further? Time grew short. Sensor readings indicated increasing activity outside the station, pressure building toward inevitable confrontation. Decisions loomed large, choices that would define not just individual fates but potentially alter the course of human-alien relations forever. As Alara prepared for whatever came next, she clung to faith in humanity's capacity for connection, even with entities vastly different from themselves. After all, wasn't that the essence of hope? Belief in possibilities yet unseen, courage to reach beyond familiar horizons? With this conviction anchoring her, Alara stepped onto the observation deck once more, gazing out at the stars. Somewhere among those distant lights lurked answers waiting to be found, truths demanding acknowledgement. Whatever happened next, she resolved to face it head-on, armed with knowledge, compassion, and unwavering determination to forge understanding from uncertainty. For in the end, wasn't that what hope truly meant? To keep reaching, keep striving, even when paths remained obscured by darkness. The tension aboard the research station reached a fever pitch as preparations for potential contact entered their final stages. Alara and her team worked tirelessly, fine-tuning every aspect of their planned communication attempt. They developed a multi-layered message combining mathematical sequences, harmonic frequencies, and visual patterns derived from universal constants, elements chosen specifically to transcend cultural and biological barriers. Each component carried layers of meaning, from basic arithmetic principles to complex representations of quantum entanglement, all woven together with threads of emotional resonance extracted from human artistic expressions. Simultaneously, defensive measures continued to evolve. Dr. Patel implemented adaptive shielding systems capable of responding to various types of energy signatures, while Dr. Al-Farouk devised biological countermeasures utilizing genetically engineered microorganisms programmed to neutralize invasive agents. These innovations reflected a delicate balance between openness to contact and readiness for conflict, acknowledging that initial encounters might unfold unpredictably despite best intentions. As launch windows approached, internal dynamics shifted dramatically. Team members oscillated between periods of intense focus and sudden emotional breakdowns, stress manifesting in diverse ways. Some withdrew into isolated introspection, seeking solace in personal rituals or meditation practices. Others formed tight-knit support groups, sharing fears and hopes in hushed conversations late into the night. Bonds forged through shared adversity strengthened, yet underlying tensions occasionally erupted into heated arguments over strategy or resource allocation. Alara navigated these challenges with characteristic resilience, drawing strength from memories of past triumphs and setbacks. She remembered moments when breakthroughs seemed impossible, only to emerge from persistence and collaboration. These recollections fueled her determination, reminding her that even in darkest hours, light persisted, if one knew where to look. Drawing inspiration from this philosophy, she encouraged team members to share personal stories of overcoming adversity, creating a tapestry of human experience that underscored their collective resilience. Yet amidst these preparations, strange occurrences multiplied. Equipment malfunctions became more frequent, often resolving spontaneously after brief disruptions. Sensor arrays detected phantom readings suggesting multiple entities moving in coordinated patterns around the station. Communication channels occasionally picked up garbled transmissions containing fragments of what sounded like distorted human speech overlaid with unfamiliar harmonics. Each incident heightened anticipation, keeping everyone perpetually on edge. During one particularly tense evening, as the team gathered to review final protocols, an unprecedented event occurred. All station systems simultaneously powered down for exactly 17 seconds. A duration corresponding precisely to prime numbers significant in Alara's research. When power restored, every display screen flashed a single symbol, an intricate geometric pattern resembling a multidimensional lattice. Before anyone could react, the symbol morphed into a sequence of colors shifting in perfect Fibonacci progression, accompanied by a low-frequency hum resonating through the structure. Panic threatened to overwhelm rational thought, but Alara's voice cut through the rising chaos. "Stay calm. This is what we've been preparing for." Her words steadied nerves, allowing the team to transition from emergency response mode to active engagement. Working swiftly, they activated pre-programmed response sequences, transmitting their carefully constructed message while simultaneously recording every detail of the incoming signal. Analysis of the alien transmission revealed astonishing complexity. Embedded within the visual and auditory components lay nested layers of information encoding mathematical relationships, physical laws, and what appeared to be philosophical concepts expressed through symbolic logic. Most remarkable was the emotional undertone accompanying these elements, a palpable sense of yearning, curiosity, and something akin to reverence. It was as if their observers sought not domination but dialogue, not conquest but communion. This realization transformed the atmosphere aboard the station. Fear gave way to wonder, apprehension to excitement. Team members embraced their roles with renewed purpose, recognizing themselves as participants in an unprecedented exchange between species separated by unimaginable gulfs of space and evolution. Collaborative energy surged, driving innovative approaches to decoding and responding to the alien message. Alara found herself at the nexus of this transformation, her leadership style evolving organically to meet emerging needs. She facilitated brainstorming sessions that encouraged free-flowing ideas, fostering an environment where creativity flourished alongside rigorous scientific methodology. Cross-disciplinary teams formed spontaneously, combining expertise in mathematics, linguistics, music theory, and psychology to tackle different aspects of the communication challenge. Through this process, unexpected connections emerged. Patterns identified in the alien transmission mirrored structures Alara had previously documented in stellar neural activity, suggesting parallels between cosmic consciousness and the intelligence now reaching out to them. These insights sparked debates about the nature of sentience itself, challenging traditional definitions rooted in biological frameworks. Could consciousness exist independently of physical form? Might it permeate the fabric of reality, manifesting through various mediums depending on context? Such questions pushed boundaries of understanding, forcing everyone involved to reconsider fundamental assumptions about existence. The experience proved humbling yet exhilarating, opening vistas of possibility previously unimaginable. With each breakthrough, the divide between observer and observed seemed to narrow, replaced by growing awareness of shared participation in a grand cosmic narrative. Outside the station, activity intensified. Sensor readings indicated massive energy fluctuations consistent with fleet movements, though no conventional vessels registered on standard detection systems. Instead, data suggested the presence of immense organic structures maneuvering through space, their forms shifting continuously like living organisms adapting to environmental conditions. These entities maintained respectful distance, neither advancing nor retreating, as if awaiting some crucial development. Inside, the team raced against time to refine their responses, incorporating newly discovered elements from ongoing analysis of the alien transmission. They created dynamic interfaces capable of real-time interaction, allowing for immediate feedback loops between human and extraterrestrial communicators. Visualizations translated complex concepts into accessible formats, while audio components synthesized harmonics designed to evoke emotional resonance across species barriers. As preparations neared completion, Alara gathered her team for a final briefing. Standing before them, she articulated a vision that transcended immediate objectives. "We stand on the threshold of something extraordinary," she declared, voice steady despite the enormity of the moment. "Not just contact with another intelligence, but potential integration into a larger web of consciousness spanning galaxies. Our task isn't merely to survive this encounter, but to learn, to grow, to expand our understanding of what it means to exist." Her words resonated deeply, crystallizing collective resolve. Whatever happened next, they faced it together, not as isolated individuals or representatives of separate disciplines, but as integral parts of a unified endeavor reaching beyond human limitations. Hope pulsed through the station, tangible and electric, charging every action with purpose. With everything in place, Alara initiated the final sequence. Across multiple channels, their message broadcast outward, carrying humanity's accumulated wisdom, aspirations, and vulnerabilities. Simultaneously, receiving arrays opened wide, ready to capture every nuance of the reply. Moments stretched into eternity as anticipation hung heavy in the air, hearts pounding in synchronized rhythm. Then, slowly, deliberately, the response began unfolding. Symbols cascaded across screens, melodies intertwined with mathematical equations, visual patterns danced in fractal harmony. Within this torrent of information lay glimpses of alien landscapes, hints of societal structures, echoes of philosophical musings. Most profoundly, there emerged a clear invitation, an offer to join in shared exploration of existence's deepest mysteries. Tears welled in eyes around the room as comprehension dawned. Their observers weren't predators stalking prey but kindred spirits seeking partnership. The chase hadn't been about capture but connection, about bridging divides to forge understanding from uncertainty. In that instant, barriers dissolved, leaving only the raw beauty of mutual discovery. Yet even as joy suffused the station, questions lingered. What lay ahead? How would this alliance reshape human destiny? And perhaps most crucially, what role would hope play in navigating the uncharted territories opening before them? As the transmission continued, Alara realized this was only the beginning, a doorway to infinite possibilities. The alien queen's pursuit had not been one of conquest but of profound curiosity, mirroring humanity's own quest for meaning. Together, they stood on the precipice of a new era, where species could unite not through domination but shared purpose. Hope, it seemed, transcended biology and culture, binding them in ways neither side had anticipated. Alara gazed at her team, their faces alight with awe and determination, knowing their lives would never be the same. Outside, the alien fleet shifted, forming patterns that shimmered like constellations alive with intent. A single thought pulsed between both parties: we are not alone. Yet as the connection deepened, an unsettling question arose: what sacrifices might unity demand? Before anyone could dwell on it, the station hummed with energy, signaling another incoming message. And so, under the vast cosmic expanse, two civilizations prepared to step into the unknown, together.